Okay, so we've got a couple of days to go and we'll finish chapter 1 of Caesar's Civil War. 84, Tandem. Last, obsessi, obviously means blocked, so they're blocked or cut off from omnibus rebus, from all their resources and everything. And yam, so now already it is quartum diem, it's 4 days, sine pabule, without any fodder, retentus jumentus. These are their pack animals and whatever other animals. So now these are animals which they have retentus here, they are without any food. And aquae, looks like genitives, and of water, and of lignorum, or of wood, probably for the fire, and of frumenti, which is grain. There was in Opia, there was a great lack of it, and so petunt, they sought a colloquium. This is a parley, and the people who are petanting are Afrianus and Petrius. And id and this, see fieri possit, if it was able to happen, in a loco simoto, in a place which is removed from the militibusses, from the soldiers. Id, so this, neuter, ubi, when it was negatum, this was denied a Caesare by Caesar, and C, meaning if, they valented, if they wanted to have a colloquy, this conversation, parlam, adverb for openly, it was concessumed. So to have a private one was negatum, but to have a public one was concessed. And dator, and was given in loco, in the place of an obsidus, of a hostage, Caesari to Caesar, was Filius Afriani, the son of Afrianus. Venator, it came into Ium Loco, into this place which Caesar had delegated. To a place which Caesar had chosen, Venator, they came, as agreed. Audiente utroque exercitu, that's ablative absolute. Audiente is the present participle plural. So with utroque, with both of the armies audienting, listening, Afrianus, the nominative, loquitur, he spoke. Non esse, it should not be either ipsis, for ourselves, or our militibus, suscendendum. So Caesar should not be burning with an anger with either these two fellows or their soldiers. Quod, we have a reason, because they have a fidem, their loyalty, etc., towards imperatum sum Pompeium. So towards their general Pompey, they had wanted, volorented, to conserve. They'd wanted to conserve their fidem, their goodwill and their trust with their leader Pompey. But satiscam, but now satisfactorily they have facissely, they have done their officio, they've completed their duty, and satisqui, and satisfied tulissi, they have bore supplicate, which is basically punishments and problems. Perpesos means they've suffered it, and omnium remum inopia, and all types of lacking of things and poverty of food, etc. Nunc viro paini, but now almost ut, as we are circummunitos, actually as feros, so they're encircled by feras, which are wild animals, and prohiberade aqua. It looks like we're prohibited from getting water, and prohiberi from ingressuing, and prohibited from walking about, and neque in corpore, neither in our bodies, the dolorem, the grief or pain, nor in our animo, in our hearts, you might want to say, are we posse ferre, able to bear this ignomia, this disgrace or something. Itiqui, and so accordingly, they confederide. They confessed, se victos. They were devictos. They confessed that they were beaten. They orarade and obsecrade, so they begged and beseeched, if qui locus, if there's some place relinquator left for misericordia, for pity and compassion and mercy, nay, add to the ultimum supplicum habeat. So probably don't consider it necessary to progress or to proceed to the final punishment, which would be killing them. Hake. These things, quam potest, as able as he was able to explain it, as he was able to explain this, in the most demississime, most dejected or humble, and subjectime. These are both superlatives. So, yeah, subjected, he's been tamed, basically, and humble, and these sorts of words. 85. Adia. To this, Caesar responded, Nulli omnium, so no one of all this part, or we have vel. The querimones, these are complaints, and miserations are calls for pity. Minus converse, so converse is more like suitable. We have two negatives, so we have nulli and minus. So if you conk the two negatives out, then you have someone or anyone is more suitable for these roles or these parts, seeking pity and mercy, etc. They like to use lots of negatives. And for enum, for reliquis, omnes officium praestitici. So this comes from like praesto. So it looks like for all the rest of them would have been able to perform their officium, their duty or something. Say, it's a pretty dodgy way to, but Caesar's talking about himself here. Myself, qui etiam, who even in bona conditions, in good condition, and with an aequo, with a fair loco and tempora, with a fair reasonable place in a time, he's talking about himself in the third person like he was. I didn't want to confligere, I didn't want to have this fight, some purpose here, so that as quam integerrima, which is a superlative, so as whole or as open as it could be, essent, everything could be ad pacem. So it looks like everything was as whole and good as it was, so that they could lead to a peace. So even when he had good conditions and a fair place and time, he didn't want to have a fight, so that he could leave open the road to peace, you might want to say. Okay, so here's a daily dictionary word. Interrogame, this is the superlative. Wholly, honestly, inappropriate, irreproachably, faultlessly, so all those sort of things. He was wholly and faultlessly leaving a road open for peace. And back to the plot. Suum exercitum, so Caesar's army, who in Iuria etiam accepted, who had accepted even these injuries or injustices, and with suis qui interfectus, with his own people, or the army with its own people killed, who in sua poteste, who in their power, they have taken prisoners, it looks like, they have conservarit and texerited, so they've preserved or conserved the people that they have in their own power, and they've texerited, they've covered them or protected them, even though they've accepted these injuries with their own people killed. And Deniqui, finally, or maybe to sum it up, the milites, the soldiers of Ilias Exercitus is the fourth declension genitive, so the soldiers of the other people's army who, per se, through these two people having a meeting, have egrented, they've conducted this little council for the concilianda pace, so that they can come to some agreement on peace. Qua in re omnium suorum vita consulendum puterent. I'll just scroll a bit down here. Okay, so qua in re omnium, so they were thinking of taking counsel for the lives of all their people in this matter anyway, which led to this, but thus ordinum parte, so the parts or sides of all these ranking officers, omnium of all of them, constituci, they had decided or wanted this in misericordia for the sake of peace or something, but ipsos duces, but your leaders abhorrowisse, you bristled or shielded away from Parque. That's so much to go there is. So we see Eos again, such as with Ipsos Duce. Caesar's actually talking to them in person, but he's calling him Eos, and then Caesar's referring to himself in the first person. So as long as that's straight. So neither the Jura, these rights or laws of colloquium, of getting together and talking, nor of indiviturums, which are treaties or truces. So neque is negative. Neither have you servace, whatever we want to call it. Neither of you have preserved any rights or laws of parleying or of truces, and homines imperatos, which is really an experienced man, but the Loeb says it's possible they were inexperienced men, according to some interpreter. You have interfecissed crudelissimo. You've killed these most cruelly through deceptos colloquiums, through having these deceptive talks, these parleys again. Acadisse, that's where we get accident from. So it happened, Igator, therefore, here's in this circumstance, or to these things have happened, quod that, plerumque, which generally or mostly of men who are nimia, too much pertinacia, they're too impertinent, and arrogantia, which is solia, which is accustomed to accidere, same as this accidere. So what's accustomed to happen to people who have excess amount of impertinence and arrogance, which plerumque generally happens of these men, so that utai, they recurrent, they want to run to this thing, and they are petanting, they are seeking this thing most cupidissime, most desirously, quod what, paulo ante, which a little before you contemptured, which you spurned or scorned a little while ago, and now you are seeking it very desirously. Neque nunc, so now I'm not going to do something. Humilitate illorum, I'm not going to use these begging and etc. of them, nor aliqua opportunity, not use some opportunity of this time to postulare, to make demands. Say again, Caesar's talking about himself. Or will he use it to augmentor, to increase his opes, his resources, quibus rebus, in these circumstances? The opes sua again. So Caesar doesn't want to increase his own resources or anything. Now there's the leaders in this low and begging state and time. Said, but here's what he wants. But the exercitus eos, but those armies, quos contra se, which have come against me, yam for multos enos, now for many years, which you have lurented, which you've nourished, now avella, I want them to be dimitai, dismissed. Neque, another negative like they used to do. Enim, for neither were six legions for any other cause, so not for some other cause, it's two negatives again. So for this cause were 6 legions, misses, sent into Hispania, which is Spain, and Ibi there, septem were conscriptem, the 7th one was conscripted, or they signed up, and neque, not tot and tantusque, not for so many and so great of class A's were paratus, which is there, so great of fleets were prepared, and another neque, another negative, and there were duces submissus, who were peritos, meaning they were experienced in military in military matters. So if you take the negatives out of that, he's basically saying 6 legions were sent for this reason into Spain, and the 7th one conscripted, and all these fleets, infantry, etc., were prepared, and experienced military leaders were enrolled or sent there as well, missos being sent again, for these military matters.